put my UVW1400 Betacam SP player back up on the bench as I received some tapes to transfer over on the large format cassettes and it wouldn't load them. Now this unit will accept both the 30-minute smaller cassettes as well as the 90-minute larger cassettes used in studio type situations. It moves the tape spools out for the larger cassettes, and I guess it's gummed up because it's never been used or hasn't been used on the large cassettes in a long time. We're going to have to take it apart and see what's wrong with it. Let's check it out. Got a couple of large Betacam SP tapes in to transfer down to digital, only to find out that my machine is not working with the large tapes. It works fine with the small tapes. When I go to load a large one, it throws an error. So we have to pop it apart and see what's going on with the loading mechanism. So I just recently got this machine and I had to fix the display that was out. I didn't see any other problems with it, but I never tried to load a large size tape, just the small tapes, and it works fine with them. So now we have to see what's going on and why it's not the tape. The tape spools here have to move out. They slide on rails. They move into the secondary position for the larger tapes, and it's not doing it. So we're going to have to see why it's failing in order for me to get my tape transfer done. And that's all it does. I'm pretty sure that these machines come apart with just a couple screws. I'm guessing it's probably just going to be grease that needs to be lubricated. Just take off this screw. Does this lift out or is it locked in place? I don't even think this screw comes out. These are designed to come off very easily. You pop off a couple screws. That screw is actually retained. That shows how quick these are designed to be removed. This should just lift right out. Look at that. Okay, that is how easy these machines come apart. 2 screws. Who would have thought? I'm thinking maybe this is gummed up. These rails need to be greased because they're kind of sticky. As is this. Let me just turn it and see what happens. Oh yeah, it's kind of gummed. You can see when I tried to load the large tape, it tried to move it all the way into the wide position, but because it was all gummed up, it failed and it kicked the tape out before it can complete that loading cycle. So I'm winding it back to the small cassette position. I think this is where my fault is. These rails are just gummed up. We're going to get in there and clean that off with some isopropyl alcohol. We have rails that need to be cleaned up. I'm just going to get some isopropyl, which I've got some here. We're going to clean off the dried out grease and put some new grease in there. That's, I think, where our fault is on this one. So without the cassette loader, if you look at this, this looks exactly like the SL5000 series transports. In fact, it's identical. Now the drum's a bit different. It has 4 heads on it, one for the chroma and one for the luma for each channel. And it's a 2-piece with the entire top drum spins, whereas the 5000 series was a 3-piece with just the center that spin. But other than that, the loading mechanism looks exactly the same as the 5000 series. See, these slide back for the larger tapes, but it's really stiff, like really, really stiff. If only home video had been built with this serviceability, but even the professional Super VHS machines that were designed for industrial markets were a lot more complex than this to work on as far as getting into them. Get some moly coat in there and see if we can get this thing to operate a little more freely and not throw an error code. Moving freer already. much freer already. It's just the gear was all gummed up, as were the slide rails.
Incidentally, the DV decks had the same thing. They had two sizes of tape, a full-size DV and a mini DV. And the DV decks that could accept either one worked exactly the same. The tape spools actually shifted back and forth.
Okay, I'm going to put the basket back in. I'll power it up and try it again. Again, machine's designed to be serviced. Just lift it out. Gotta love it. You know, if only the consumer machines were built like these. But again, this is what when you spend $13,000 on a VCR, or $14,000 or whatever the hell this thing cost when it was new. When you spend that kind of money on a VCR, you expect that you're going to be able to have the thing serviced. Your engineer on site is going to be able to have that thing fixed and back on the air in minutes. And that's basically how it goes in. 2 screws hold the whole entire cassette basket in place. Just like that. Okay. Power up. Giant beta cassette. Got the tape in. Rewind.
That cassette is making a lot of noise. And fortunately, I'm going to get a good transfer out of it, but that's about it. Because this tape has got a problem, which I found out later.
There it goes. So I may have to put some more lube in there. I'll get some more, and but at least I got it to a thread for this time to get these tapes transferred. I'll deal with this again when I have some time. But there, just the spline, or the cam gear was a bit stuck there. And then the tape is rewinding. I've got 2 60s and a 90-minute tape to transfer over to digital. And since I don't have any of the large tapes, although I might end up with some, because the fellow that I'm doing the transfer for, after he gets the transfer done, he's going to evaluate the quality, which will be good, because I'm going to transfer this over a FireWire interface into DV, so it'll look the same as you got a bunch of DV tapes from it at the same time. So he said, yeah, I'll let you know whether I want the tapes back or whether you can recycle them. So I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't need the tapes back, because it would be nice to have a couple of the large tapes just for maintaining my machine, you know, for when I need to lube it and so forth, just for maintaining this machine. But there you go, that's the big beta cassette. As you can see, there's a lot of tape on there. Twice as much tape as a small tape, but the 90 has 3 times as much tape. But it's snapped to service. 2 screws to take off the top, 2 screws to take out the cassette basket. How much easier can it be to service? And of course, if you need to do any board service, 1 screw and then the boards just unplug. 1 screw, these boards unplug. It really doesn't get much more simplified than that. There we go, it's rewound. There it is. Even after lubricating, I'm still not happy. It's still a little bit on the slow side when it loads the tape. Sometimes I have to push the tape in, 3 or 4 times while it's slowly adjusting the guides. So we're going to pull the mechanism out one more time. Swing it out of the way for now. It is freer than it was for sure, but it still is quite stiff at points as it moves. So a lot freer than it was, that's for sure, as the tape hubs move into position. And again, after 2 or 3 attempts, it moves it a bit, but it doesn't, it sticks, and then it frees up. So I think probably it's the grease in the little pivot arms down here that are slow, because these parts move quite freely. If I get into the position where they're moving, these move freely. So I think it's going to be the arms. We're going to have to get some oil or something down, actually down into here. I think that's where it's stiff, is where these go to turn. Yeah, they feel a bit stiff, these actual bearings here. Especially this one. Actually, it feels like it's just this one on the side that's really stiff. Because these slide no problem. It's this one down here, I'm sure, is the one that's problematic. So if we can see if we can get a drop of oil right down into this bearing here, and see if that will free this up to make it slide nice and easy. So from the looks of things, these are metal. So if I pop the cut washer off the top, like that, I should be able to get some oil down into this bearing. And also into this one, also into this other, into there, into that bearing. I'll do the same for the other one. See whether that frees these up any. I mean, it's not like they're going to move that often. It's only when you change from the large tapes to the small tapes. This machine probably has not had large tapes put in it in a long time, if ever.
Notice the optical sensors on the tape spools, as well as the one down by my screwdriver there, that determines whether it's in the large or small position. You'll see one right on that gear there. That's a photo sensor, plus the two ones that have the sharp markings on them, on the rotation, or for the rotation sensors on the take-up and supply spools. They thought of everything on these machines to protect tapes from getting eaten if one of the spools doesn't work.
Oh, already they're smooth, much more smooth. Just a drop of oil. Yeah, much smoother now. That's much better. There's hardly any drag on them at all now. And I'm going to put the basket back in. Stop hitting my head on the camera. Drop the basket back in and plug it in, and we'll try loading a couple of different tapes. The basket just plugs in like that, and then the two screws. Okay, let's try it out.
So I loaded the tape. The small tape worked fine. To load the large tape, it did not want to eject. So now I'm pulling my hair out as to why it's not ejecting the tape properly. It's like the tape's going slack. And my camera was running when I was doing these tests. I didn't realize that they had left the camera on, so a little bit of a delay here before I figured out that was actually the tape that was causing the problem. Pull the machine apart, go through all the motions again. I can't find anything wrong with it. Everything's looking good, but put the large tape in, and well, I think I might have some shots of what it was doing if I can find it here. And it turns out that it was a tape that was causing it. The one tape that I rewound earlier that was noisy, well, the take-up spool has gone bad. At least I got a transfer out of it before the tape decided to pack it in. That should have been a dead giveaway, but I thought that I'd done some damage when I had the machine apart, even though I didn't take anything out. I just oiled it. That tape all of a sudden got real noisy. And that one really threw me to I was pulling my hair out wondering, what the hell is wrong with this thing? Now watch the eject. It'll do the emergency eject where it does everything really slow so it won't damage the tape. Watch.
The small tapes, it works fine. Actually, you know what? It might be the tape. You know, this tape here, this large tape. I'll try another one here, but this one here. Listen to how noisy this is when I go to fast forward. I think this tape might have a problem. I've already transferred this tape. See how noisy that is? Fortunately, this tape, I already got a transfer out of it. But when I went to eject it, the machine goes into like, I put my small tape in and it's fine. This one here, the tape goes slack, and then it goes into the crawl mode, where it slowly takes up the tape, and then slowly ejects so that it doesn't eat. It's actually winding it back onto the supply hub right now. Let's just try another large tape. So let's just try this one. Damn! It was a tape. I spent all that time taking this thing apart and putting it back together, trying to figure out why it's not working properly. Something must have come loose in this tape. maybe one of the real locks or something is not releasing it, and it's slow at turning or whatever reason. But I noticed that when I was fast forwarding it was loud, but something's gone wrong with this tape. I don't hear anything wrong with it, but that tape was clearly a problem. Let's try one of the small tapes. I go back to the good big tape. That one works fine. And back to this problematic tape. And I won't even wind it. I'll just eject it, and you see it's going slack. Something is wrong with this tape. So, and I thought that I screwed up. God, man, you know, after I took it apart to lubricate and put some oil and stuff on the pins and put it all back together, and I put this tape in, you can imagine my frustration thinking that I screwed something up. And in all, it's just this tape, which played fine when I copied it, worked fine, but for whatever reason, it doesn't want to work now. This one here. So I'm going to mark this tape as a bad tape. Mark it with an X on there. That's a bad tape. I don't know what's going to happen with the tapes, because the guy that had me transfer the tapes over from said that once he gets the transfer, he'll decide whether he wants the old tapes back or not. So I figured I'll mark that anyway, just in case he wants them back. That tape seems to have a problem ejecting. Anyway, this machine now has had another little service done to it, and hopefully it will last me for many years to come. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.